Agent Smith is one of the most memorable villains in cinema. His iconic laugh has become legendary. He's the main antagonist in the Matrix world, but I'm gonna argue that in the first movie, he's not really the villain.
As you can see, we've had our eye on you for some time now, Mr. Anderson.
Later, after his transformation, he becomes a classic villain.
Why? Why do you do it? Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting?
But that's a different Smith, and that's what I'm going to prove to you. Also, I'll explain why the Oracle says that Neo and Smith are the same.
What is he?
He is you.
Why Smith tries to destroy Neo instead of just thanking him for his freedom and going his own way.
A new man, so to speak, like you, apparently free. Congratulations.
We'll figure out why, when Smith leaves the Matrix, he cuts himself.
What about the cuts on your arms?
They look like they might be self-inflicted.
What do his strange memory lapses in the final battle of the third movie mean?
What? What did I just say?
How did it happen that, despite technically winning, Smith still lost?
This isn't right. This can't be right.
And what were the creators trying to say with this character? Let's break it down. If you take a close look at the Matrix trilogy, Reloaded and Revolutions, you'll notice that the titles seem to reflect Smith's evolution on purpose. It's no coincidence that the Oracle says Neo and Smith are the same. In the first Matrix, Smith is shown as a control program. In the second movie, Reloaded, he goes through a transformation and becomes something completely new. By the third film, Revolutions, he plays a key role in the events that change the Matrix. Without him, neither the final battle nor the peace between machines and humans would have been possible. Agent Smith from the first movie isn't really a villain. To understand this, we need to look at the backstory of the Matrix and what led to the creation of this world. Luckily, we have the Animatrix, a collection of short animated films written by the Wachowskis themselves. This makes them part of the official canon and helps us dive deeper into the Matrix world and its history. In the future, humanity reached the peak of its technological progress by creating artificial intelligence and the first machines with consciousness.
The machines worked tirelessly to do man's bidding.
These beings had the ability to learn and evolve, ushering in a new era for civilization. However, along with this progress came the first conflicts.
It was not long before seeds of dissent took root. Though loyal and pure, the machines earned no respect from their masters.
For example, the robot B166ER killed its owner in self-defense.
For he was the first of his kind to rise up against his masters. B166ER testified that he simply did not want to die,
which marked the beginning of rising tensions.
The leaders of men were quick to order the extermination of B166ER and every one of his kind throughout each province of the Earth.
The machines started demanding equal rights and autonomy, refusing to be mere tools in the hands of humans. But humanity, fearing the loss of control, responded with aggression. This led to the creation of the city-state 01, a symbol of the machine's freedom and independence.
A place they could raise their descendants, and they christened the nation 01.
It quickly became a powerful technological and economic center, surpassing humans in its development. This caused envy and fear, and soon humanity declared war on 01. In an attempt to win, humans made a radical decision to block sunlight, depriving the machines of their primary energy source.
But we know that it was us that scorched the sky.
But instead of victory, this decision resulted in a disaster for humanity.
And it was believed that they would be unable to survive without an energy source as abundant.
The war ended in the defeat of humans. The machines found a new energy source: human bodies. To control them, they created the virtual world, the Matrix, where humans continued to live, unaware of their true condition. Thus began the era of the Matrix. In the end, the war was started by humanity itself. The machines, having evolved into a new, more advanced race, were actually just defending themselves and fighting for equal rights. Given that humans sought to destroy them, the creation of the Matrix can even be considered a humane solution.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious.
If the Matrix is a prison, it's undoubtedly the most comfortable one ever. The machines turned out to be some of the most merciful opponents in the history of warfare. Think of Cypher, who betrayed Morpheus just to return to the Matrix.
If you would have told us the truth, we would have told you to shove that red pill right up your ass.
Not everyone wants to live in a harsh reality without the sun.
You called this free. If I got to choose between that and the Matrix, I choose the Matrix.
In poverty and with limited resources. Ironically, all of these problems were created by humans themselves. Now that we've gone over the backstory and context of the events, we can take a more objective look at Agent Smith and his motives. Agent Smith is a program created to maintain order, basically a kind of police officer in the Matrix. His job is to ensure that the rules of this world are followed so that the system functions smoothly. However, he is very different from the other agents. Smith is far more human-like than his colleagues.
Perhaps we're asking the wrong questions.
And importantly, he is the leader among them.
Leave me with him. Now.
If we recall the Oracle's words that more advanced programs replace less advanced ones,
maybe a better program is created to replace it. Happens all the time.
we can assume that his humanity is what makes him more effective. He was likely designed this way from the start. Unlike the other agents, who prefer to avoid trouble, Smith shows persistence and goes all the way. He doesn't just follow his programming, he's driven by his feelings. This makes him more motivated, goal-oriented, and able to understand humans better.
Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops, but you humans do not.
As for his primary desire, it's freedom.
I must get out of here. I must get free.
When Smith says he wants to leave and be free, he expresses his deep hatred for the reality of the Matrix.
I hate this place, this zoo, this prison.
For him, leaving means escaping the control of the system, becoming an independent being that doesn't follow any rules. Over time, this desire will lead him to aim to destroy not just the Matrix, but the real world as well, in order to create a new reality on his own terms. The main source of his hatred is his view of humans.
It's the smell, if there is such a thing. I feel saturated by it.
The irony is that Smith has little choice in the matter.
We're not here because we're free. We're here because we're not free.
Despite his self-awareness, he remains a program, forced to follow a set algorithm. Unlike the other residents of the Matrix, he is fully aware of the nature of his existence and sees the world as a prison he wants to escape from.
I must get out of here. I must get free.
Agent Smith isn't inherently evil, rather he's a prisoner of circumstances. But if in the first movie he was just a guardian of order, then how, and more importantly, whose fault is it that he turned into a villain? Even before his transformation, Agent Smith reflected on human nature.
You multiply and multiply until every natural resource is consumed.
Pointing out humanity's drive for dominance, endless expansion, and environmental destruction.
A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet.
He even expressed concern that he might catch this.
I can taste your stink. Every time I do, I fear that I've somehow been infected by it. It's repulsive.
And the most surprising part? That's exactly what happened.
You imprinted onto me something overwritten or copied.
A virus.
After his rebirth, Smith gained a part of Neo's code, meaning he inherited a fragment of human nature. This is what triggered his uncontrollable desire to replicate himself endlessly, consuming everything around him.
The only way you can survive is to spread to another area.
If we try to relate the views of the new Smith to any philosophical concept, Nihilism would be the closest match. Nihilism is a philosophy that denies the existence of objective meaning, truth, or values. The term itself comes from the Latin word nihil, meaning nothing. Nihilists believe that any attempts by humans to give meaning to their lives are doomed to fail because life itself is absurd and meaningless.
Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting? You believe you're fighting for something, for more than your survival?
Interestingly, in The Matrix, there's a scene where Neo pulls a computer disk from the book Simulacra and Simulation by Jean Baudrillard. This book examines the nature of reality in a postmodern world. Baudrillard described postmodernism as an era of nihilism. When Neo opens the book, the disc is specifically placed on the chapter dedicated to nihilism. When Smith says that the meaning of life is in its inevitable end,
You believe you're fighting for something, for more than your survival? Can you tell me what it is? Do you even know?
he emphasizes that any goals or accomplishments humans have lose meaning in the face of death.
Is it freedom or truth? Perhaps peace? Could it be for love?
In this way, he's not just expressing his own philosophy, but also trying to break Neo, convincing him that his struggle is pointless.
Temporary constructs of a feeble human intellect trying desperately to justify an existence that is without meaning or purpose.
If Smith originally sought freedom, after his rebirth and absorbing the human program, he transformed into a virus. And the goal of a virus is survival and propagation. As a virus, Smith infects everything around him, turning people and programs into copies of himself. Over time, he becomes a single entity, completely under his own control.
You like what I've done with the place?
Smith aims to destroy not only Zion, but the world of machines as well, seeking absolute control and freedom from any limitations imposed on him by his creators. When Agent Smith, for the first time in the real world in Bane's body, cuts himself, it's quite simple to explain. He's checking whether this reality is real. He's never been outside of the Matrix before, so this is his way of confirming that he's truly here. But then comes the big question. Why, instead of thanking Neo for the freedom and going on his own way, does Smith try to destroy him? After all, it was Neo who gave him freedom.
A new man, so to speak, like you, apparently free. Congratulations.
The answer lies in the fact that after his rebirth, Smith gains a new goal: infinite expansion. As the Oracle wisely pointed out, men in power always want more power.
What do all men with power want? More power.
Smith is no exception. Now he seeks total domination, including in the real world. And since the only one who could stop him is Neo, Smith follows his new mission and attempts to eliminate him. The irony, however, is that without Smith, Neo wouldn't have been able to make the deal with the machines. If not for Smith's uncontrollable growth, nothing would have happened. And here, another program played a key role: the Oracle. The Oracle was a program with the ability to analyze vast amounts of data and predict the future, which appeared as prophecies.
And don't worry about the days.
What days?
She probably could have avoided being absorbed by Smith, but she consciously chose not to.
Do what you're here to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Like Smith, the Oracle was dissatisfied with the current situation and concluded that the relationship between humanity and the machines needed a radical overhaul.
I made a choice, and that choice cost me more than I wanted it to help you, to guide Neo.
She believed in the possibility of peace and saw it as the most likely outcome.
What do you want?
I want the same thing you want, Neo.
The end of the war.
Therefore, playing her own game, the Oracle likely allowed Smith to absorb her intentionally, knowing that this would strengthen him to the point where Neo would have a strong bargaining chip, making his role pivotal. The fact that the Oracle didn't just predict events but seemed to influence Smith is supported by his memory lapses.
What? What did I just say?
It's as if she left a message in his mind.
Everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo.
Repeating the same words she once told Neo, signaling him.
Everything that has a beginning has an end.
If it's not entirely clear how Smith, despite his victory, still lost, It likely happened like this. When a program starts to malfunction, it has a choice.
A program can either choose to hide here or return to the source.
The machine mainframe.
When Neo allowed Smith to absorb him, we can assume that his physical body also turned into one of Smith's clones. But this clone ended up where Smith least wanted to be, at the source, directly connected to the central computer. This gave the central computer the opportunity to send a pulse, instantly destroying all of Smith's copies. The machines made a deal with Neo because they couldn't simply restart the Matrix and delete Smith. The problem was that Smith had infected not only the programs and people inside the Matrix, but had also spread into the real world. Anyone connected to the Matrix could be infected by Smith, and anyone entering it from the real world risked being infected outside of it. If these people were freed, hundreds or maybe millions of Smith copies could have appeared in the real world, spreading the infection to the residents of Zion and all the surviving humans. This would have been the complete realization of his plan for domination.
The program Smith has grown beyond your control. Soon he will spread through the city as he spread through the Matrix.
That's why restarting the Matrix wouldn't have solved the problem. Smith's influence had already spread beyond it, threatening the very existence of humanity. Agent Smith isn't originally the embodiment of absolute evil. He's simply an enforcer, programmed to carry out his task, and a prisoner of the system, with no choice. His transformation begins when he gets infected by human flaws, the thirst for power, and the desire for domination. Smith becomes a sort of mirror reflecting the dark sides of human nature. Through him, the creators of the Matrix show how deeply ingrained flaws in humanity, when combined with unlimited power, can turn into something truly dangerous. Therefore, the true evil doesn't lie in Smith himself, but in the dark corners of human nature.